970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM, Fargo-Moorhead.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us on another Friday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Justin Storm with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and Ag Director Bridgette Readel. And again, we're glad you're joining us here on WDAY Radio as well as Facebook and YouTube Live, and we also stream on Acres TV. Fun things coming up on the show for today. We have our returning guest. I think he's our most frequent guest that we have here on Weather and Ag in Focus. Randy Nelson, Clay County Extension Educator, is joining us again for not only lawn and garden radio, but also houseplant and any other plant questions that you may have. So another opportunity for you to get those questions in if you're wondering, why is my peace lily just look like bad crap? It's just call in, find out. We'll give you an answer on that. You'll be able to find out what you can do to change that around and hit it to perk up. 701-293-9000 is our studio line. Again, that number is 701-293-9000. Or you can send those questions or related topics to our email during or after the show to weatherorag@flagfamily.com. Again, Randy will be joining us at about 1:20 this afternoon for a couple of segments. Dean, Bridgette, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Bridgette?
It's nice out there. For those of you who are taking part in North Dakota's Deer Opener today, started at noon. You might be out hunting, you might be out walking some tree lines, etc. So best of luck, stay safe, and so far the weather's not bad. Thanks, guys. Way to deliver on that one.
Great weather for Deer Opener. Bad. No doubt about it. And tomorrow is the Deer Opener and for Minnesota side, and tomorrow looks pretty decent. Winds will be picking up a little bit out of the southeast, but all in all, a decent day with highs tomorrow close to 50. So hey, I don't think you can complain about that, except it'd be nice to have a little snow to track the deer, and there is no snow in the forecast. In fact, we've got rain coming into the area as we head into next week, some much needed rain. Will it end our drought conditions that we're in? No, but again, it will help. So we'll take any rain we can get, because it's been pretty hard to come by over the last 2 months around here. And I think
if we're going to get rain, I'll have to wear my heavier boots for hunting when I go out on Sunday and Monday, Dean. Thanks.
Right, exactly. and you know what? It's better than snow, because this will allow it to really soak in, which will help. But it'll help a little bit out there. So good news.
And
there.
outside of that chance for a spitting of rain, that comes overnight Saturday. The real rain, or our better chance for some significant, well, maybe significant's not the right word, but measurable snow rain comes beginning of next week. So the weekend, not too bad, like Dean said. So we'll touch on the forecast as we always do here on Weather and Ag in Focus. We have some fun ag-related topics and headlines we need to get to. And again, our guest Randy Nelson joins us at 1:20. So we're going to send you to ABC News, and we'll be right back with a few ag topics and a check on that forecast.
From ABC News, I'm Richard Cantu. Election workers in Adams County, Colorado got a scare as they were emptying a ballot drop box. One of the ballots was leaking a white powder. A hazmat unit, paramedics, firefighters, police all responded. Initial tests indicated it was not narcotics, explosives, or biological agents. County Clerk Josh Ziegelbaum.
We've been made aware that some of it is cooking substances. However, there's an unknown chemical as well.
It's been sent for further testing. Campaigning for Democrats ahead of midterm elections, President Biden went to San Diego's Mira Costa College, challenging election-denying candidates who won't commit to accepting election results unless they win.
You can't call yourself a democracy or supporting democratic principles if you say the only election that's fair is the one I win.
Ostensibly campaigning for Republicans in Sioux City, Iowa, the last president continued his grievance tour and again hinted he might run in 2024.
In order to make our country successful and safe and glorious, I will very, very, very probably do it again.
You've got mail. You're fired. New Twitter boss Elon Musk wielding the axe, firing a good chunk of Twitter's 7,500 employees via email today. But federal law requires 60 days notice of mass layoffs. Bloomberg reporting a class action lawsuit's been filed. White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre updated the case of Brittany Griner, imprisoned in Russia.
The State Department just confirmed that U.S. Embassy officials in Moscow were able to visit Brittany Griner today. We are told she is doing as well as can be expected under the circumstances.
The $1.5 billion Powerball drawing is tomorrow night, third largest U.S. lottery prize ever. In 5 states without lottery, envious bystanders are crossing state lines or sending money to friends and families, hoping to get in on the action. You're listening to ABC News.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. Don't take on the IRS alone. If you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. The experts at Optima specialize in a powerful IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The big election is next week, and Rob Schmidt is on Newsmax every night this week talking about the real issues the big media won't. Rob shows how inflation really is killing us. Then Rob looks at our border, soaring crime, the dangers of the woke agenda, and more. And Rob speaks with the candidates in the big races that will change America. He talks the latest polls with Dick Morris and so much more. I watch Rob Schmidt on Newsmax. You should too. Millions are switching to Newsmax. And this weekend, Newsmax will be the only major cable channel airing President Trump's big rallies live. Get the Trump schedule from Newsmax. Just text the word rally to 39747. That's rally to 39747. That's how you get the Trump info and more. Text rally to 39747. That's rally to 39747. And be sure and watch Newsmax and Rob Schmidt today. You're going to love it.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Again, this is Friday afternoon. We're looking at temperatures outside 36 degrees. We'll touch on that forecast here in just a moment. I'm meteorologist Justin Storm with Ag Director Bridgette Readel and Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki. And we hope that you join our conversation today throughout the show. If you have any questions or comments or simply just join in the conversation, give us a call. Feel free anytime, 701-293-9000. We'd love to hear from you. Again, that phone number, 701-293-9000. Bridgette, why don't we tackle an ag headline or a topic first, and then we'll take a quick look at that forecast, because I know everybody wants to know what the weekend's going to look like. Will I be able to go hunting? But what's this about chiropractors making field calls?
I love it when I don't know which one you're going to ask me about. So I'm over here making sure I have all my stuff ready. Okay. I thought this was an awesome idea. You want to be an entrepreneur? You're a chiropractor? Start taking it to the field. So during harvest, there is a chiropractor in Cedar Falls, Iowa. He takes a portable table right to the field. You get out of your combine, out of your tractor from the grain cart or your truck. He does chiropractic adjustments right there for you. Bill you later. And if he set up shop in line for most of the elevators during corn harvest while the trucks are waiting, I think he'd have a smashing success. But he just wants to remind us all, take the time for our own health. So if you are out in the field and you don't have an on-call chiropractor who's going to come out to the field directly for you, Dean, this is for you and your bad back.
Oh, I need it.
Lean ahead in your seat. Grab that steering wheel. Stretch yourself. Or even before you get up in the cab of your machine, grab that handrail and make sure to pull yourself back and forward. Open up the chest, the back. Get out and walk around and stretch a few times. Not all of you, like me, can stand up in the cab of the combine, so you're going to have to get out and walk around. But it's just a great reminder that when you're spending 12 to 14 hours a day on those machines, that gets old. And like this chiropractor wants to be there to help.
Yeah, I could definitely see how it would.
That's sound advice. I love it.
So Dean, if he could come to the studio, we'd be having you get chiropractic or chiropractic care on breaks.
Oh man, I like that
You'd be
idea.
hearing a lot of cracks and pops coming from Dean's back.
Oh man. Well, let's hit on the weather real quick here. Justin, you want me to take it? Or do you want to take it?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you go ahead and take it? I got a couple background things I got to take care of here.
All right, you go take care of that, and let's give you a rundown on the forecast. I'll tell you, this is a great day for the deer opener here in North Dakota, and with light winds, plenty of sunshine, and hey, you can't beat it. Temperatures right now in the mid to upper 30s across the area, and we'll top out in the low 40s today. Then we'll bottom out tonight in the upper teens to around 20, so cold night. So it'll be a cold start for the deer opener in Minnesota tomorrow. But it'll warm up in the afternoon, not too bad. Highs upper 40s to right around 50. And then clouds will increase late in the day tomorrow. Might see a little bit of sprinkle activity tomorrow evening or tomorrow night as winds will be turning to the southeast about 10 to 20. And then as we head into Sunday, wow, I don't think you're going to want to be out hunting on Sunday. We have major winds coming into the area with wind gusts exceeding 40 miles an hour likely on Sunday out of the northwest, and temperatures only in the low 40s. The good news is next week we're going to warm up, and at least the first part of the week. We'll start off the week on the cool side, low 40s, but warm up into the 50s Tuesday, Wednesday, as a pretty big storm system gathers strength out in the Rockies and moves northward, and that's going to pull up some moisture. And latest computer model runs I was taking a look at over the valley and east into Minnesota have about a ½ inch to an inch of rain for next week, so that's good news. The further west you go out into the western Dakotas, not a whole lot, ½ inch or less it looks like. And then it looks like we'll probably have another storm or two after that one coming in over the next couple of weeks. Still don't see any measurable snow on the horizon. And it's funny because Justin and I were talking the other day that one of our models, our Canadian model that we look at, I believe it was for later next week after the rain event, it had, I think it was it 2 feet of snow over our area, Justin? Wasn't the Canadian...
Oh, they were ranging, the models, they've been trying to paint out with this storm system late next week, almost into next weekend, which is a long ways out to really have any idea on exactly what's going to happen using these computer models. But it was like a foot to 10 to 20 inches of snow. So
and when you see that a week away, you just have to chuckle. It's like, come on, really?
You see, those are the people on Facebook, and they'll share, hey, 20 days from now, 36 feet of snow, and it's like, what are you doing? You can't be sharing things like that.
Fake news. Oh man. So again, I don't see any measurable snow on the horizon. So, but like I said, we'll take any moisture we can get, whether it's snow or rain. And looks like this system coming in next week is going to be mostly rain. We could mix in a few wet snowflakes as the colder air pushes in. By late next week, we'll have highs only in the 30s. So. Yeah, it's going to feel more like November should as we head into later next week.
So what you're saying is, for me, planning to go hunting on Sunday, it's going to be a little out of control.
Are you really?
Yeah, I had planned to go out on Sunday.
It's going to be really windy. Now, how does that affect the deer? Are they?
Well, they're not on the ground anymore. They're in the sky.
Yeah, right.
This
or they're rolling down the hill.
So, okay,
I don't know. With a 50-mile-an-hour wind gust, you never know.
I didn't grow up hunting, but I do hunt now after I've lived here in the Red River Valley with friends and family. My husband taught me how to hunt. And when you have heavy wind like that, they don't move. They pretty much stay in place. And so if I'm walking a shelter belt to try to kick them out, they might not move unless I practically step on them. So if we've got heavy winds like that, they're going to be a little tougher to find until that dies down.
Yeah, and be careful for all the hunters. If you're going out hunting, be careful because with that wind and how dry it's been, that could be a tinderbox out there waiting to happen. So.
And wear your orange. I already am, apparently. Get ready for that.
Definitely. And outside of the hunting, if you're planning on taking any, high-profile vehicles up and down I-29, especially if you're heading into the Northern Valley on Saturday, or not Saturday, but Sunday, you might be dealing with a pretty aggressive crosswind out of the west. So just keep that in mind. I think it's probably pretty likely we'll see wind advisories, if not more, being issued for Sunday afternoon. But we're going to get our guest on now with us. Randy Nelson will be joining us when we come back. So have that phone number handy if you want to ask any questions. Why does my peace lily not look great? This isn't doing so well. Is there anything I should do last minute before it snows outside for my shrubs or my lawn? Give us a call, 701-293-9000. Your opportunity to get all of those questions and more answered. You can also send those to us via email if you can't call in right now to weatherorag@flagfamily.com. Weather and Ag in Focus. We'll be right back with Randy Nelson.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
Why wait to save? Dell Technologies Black Friday event arrives early with select deals on top tech to power business productivity. The savings start now with up to 48% off performance business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, including free shipping on everything. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL for Black Friday deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Hi, Lacey here with Precision Concrete Cutters. You've heard our ads about egress windows. They add sunlight, they provide an escape and add value to your home. All true, but I'd like to let you in on a little secret. You can add an egress window anywhere, even if there's no existing window. I know this because at Precision Concrete Cutters, we specialize in egress window installation and replacement. Precision Concrete Cutters, 701-280-7038. That's 280-7038.
I'm Kristen Roars, District 27 State Senator, and I'm seeking re-election. As a nurse, I'm trained to assess the needs of those I'm helping and provide solutions. As our district grows, we need to address the rising cost of living, the struggles growing communities and farmers are facing, and the daycare and workforce shortages by electing legislators who have the experience and vision to get things done. I've accomplished many things during my first term and want to continue serving as an advocate and voice for the residents in District 27. On November 8th, vote to send me back to the North Dakota State Senate.
Paid for by Vote for Roars. Hayden Wiersbacher, Treasurer.
Guess who's attacking Measure 1 and the term limits that 81% of North Dakota voters support?
Let me guess. Career politicians and lobbyists?
You got it. Term limits are working for the people in 36 other states. And with a yes vote on Measure 1, term limits will finally be put to work for us.
I agree. In North Dakota, citizens should be in charge, not career politicians. I'm voting yes on Measure 1 for term limits. Paid for by U.S. Term Limits. Howard Rich, Chairman.
Welcome back to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. So happy that you are here joining us. And by us, I definitely mean Dean Wysocki, Chief Meteorologist, Justin Storm, Meteorologist Extraordinaire, and myself, Bridgette Readel, Ag Director. And today is our day to bring in one of our favorite returning guests. He doesn't get frequent flyer miles, but he certainly gets a lot of kudos for all of the answers he brings us. And as you all listen today in our discussion, remember, you can call 701-293-9000 because the esteemed Randy Nelson, Clay County Extension Educator, is with us to answer questions about lawns, gardens, houseplants, and pretty much whatever we toss at him. Hey, Randy, how are you?
Hi, Bridgette. Hi, Justin. Hi, Dean. Bridgette, thank you for that very, very kind introduction.
Well, don't worry. We're gonna slice and dice you with a bunch of questions today. So there ends the kindness, right? All right, I got a pile of them, Randy. One of them is, folks are wondering when they've been doing a lot of watering on their houseplants, particularly over the winter months, there's some white stuff on the topsoil of those plants. What is that? How do I eliminate it in the future? Any advice?
Generally speaking, that white crust that develops on the top of the soil are salts. As that water evaporates from the soil surface, of course, the salts are left behind on there. And one way to get rid of at least excess salts is going to be when a person waters. And what I suggest, if the plants are small enough where you can carry them to a kitchen sink or maybe put them in your bathtub or a bathroom sink, go ahead, water them in there, allow the water to freely drain from the drain holes for a few minutes, and then go ahead and pour some fresh water over the top again. Those soluble salts, of course, are going to readily dissolve in water. And then just through the leaching process on the first watering, you'll get rid of some. And then using fresh water for a second watering, that should flush a majority of the salts out of there. Granted, depending on what your water source is, if you're using well water that goes through a softener, you're always going to have some salts in there. But again, at least you can reduce the buildup.
Now, I got a couple questions for you, Randy. This one comes from Janet. She bought one of these bamboo plant trees from Walmart about a month or so ago, and she's been watering it regularly like it says, but now she's got like some orange sponge-like fungus growing straight out near the base of that trunk. Do you have any idea on what that might be?
Gosh, no, I don't. That sounds really interesting. I remember several years back we tried a bamboo plant. Didn't last very long, but I've been known to kill houseplants.
Wait, what?
Oh, Bridgette, that is, it shouldn't come as a surprise, but even though I am technically a horticulturalist, I have killed a tremendous number of plants. You can even ask my kids.
Yeah, I think most people are pretty good at killing them.
Yeah, my second youngest, I ended up killing her African violet one time, and that's been probably 5 years ago, and she still reminds me of that, that I killed it. But anyway, you learn. You always learn something new when you kill a plant. So you try again.
Yeah, I'll see if Janet can send a picture of what that looks like. Maybe we can forward it off to you, Randy.
That would be great.
And Randy, so I'm curious. My neighbor has his lawn. Obviously, it stopped growing. He's leaving it pretty long over the winter. I was wondering if I should cut mine one last time here before the snow flies, or is it a better idea just to keep your lawn a little bit longer over the winter?
That's a great question, and it really depends on what you've noticed in terms of drifting snow and whether or not you've had much for snow mold. Snow mold usually occurs when we have a snowfall that happens on soil that's not frozen, and usually it's going to be in areas where it drifts because it's active right around freezing, but it needs to have free moisture. So as that snow drift is melting, you get prolonged wetness. And if you've had snow mold and you got areas that drift usually every year, you certainly could reduce your mowing height if you wanted to. I wouldn't go much lower than 2.5 inches. But if you're in an area where you don't have a lot of drifting and you haven't had much for snow mold, I would leave it. And, maybe if you're mowing at 3 inches or 3.5 inches, I wouldn't go any shorter if you haven't had much for drifting and for snow mold in previous years.
There's going to be a pile of people out mowing tomorrow and this afternoon, aren't there? Just to get ready.
I got another one. Yeah, so Kevin wanted to know if there's anything that he should be doing, or not if there's anything he can be doing, but if he can throw seed down on dirt and wait for it, the snow to come and then melt in the spring and use that as his watering source. Is it too late to throw grass seed down right now, or is that still something that could be done?
It is something that could be done. It's a technique known as dormant seeding, and when it works, you can get a beautiful lawn. Typically, it'll be a month ahead of anything that you would put down in the spring of the year. The real trick is timing. And thankfully, there are 2 meteorologists on here. So if you have a rough idea when, say, the temperatures are not going to be say, real warm, because ideally you would put your seed down, and then shortly after that, the temperatures are going to stay in the, say, the mid-30s or so, and then at some point it's going to freeze up, and then nothing happens until spring when everything melts, soil thaws, and then that grass is going to come out of the ground. Because sometimes what can happen, you put your seed down, and then you're thinking it's going to be winter, but it warms up maybe in the 50s, and then you get germination. The grass dies because it's not far enough along, and then you get not much of anything coming up in the spring of the year. So if you can time it correctly, you still have time to do that. Again, what are your thoughts on temperatures here going forward?
We're done with the 60s, I think. We could squeak out a 60-degree temp, though, but I think for the most part, our models, our longer-range models, are starting to look a lot colder, more typical for November, kind of 40s, 40-ish, and maybe some 30s mixed in there as well.
Okay. You know, with that forecast, I think a person would be safe doing that now, because, you know, if the temperature is even in the mid-40s, it shouldn't be warm enough for that grass seed to germinate.
Okay, I got another question here from Rudy. He wants to know if he can stop watering the trees that he planted this year. He said he planted a couple of maple trees, a couple of apple trees. He wants to know, because he waters them every single week with a 5-gallon bucket, should he keep doing that until we start seeing, you know, temperatures closer to freezing, or until that ground freezes, or should he just stop?
Great question. I would continue at least checking the soil. It could be the case now that with the cooler temperatures, there's still going to be some evaporation. With the leaves being gone on the trees, there shouldn't be any transpiration happening, but you could still have a little bit of evaporation from the soil. So if the top inch or two is drying out on those newly planted trees, I would go ahead and give it a good watering. So if they're using a 5-gallon pail or something like that per tree, I would continue doing that until the soil freezes up. And that's going to be really important, because those plants were just put into the ground. So their root system really hasn't had a lot of time to establish, and they're going to be more susceptible to drying out, especially if they were potted, because all the roots are in that potting media. And until they can really grow out into the existing soil, even though there might be moisture out in that existing soil, most of it's being taken up where the roots are in that potting media, and it tends to dry out a bit more. So watering this time of the year for newly planted trees and shrubs and even perennials is an important thing to be doing.
All right. Randy, I've got we got a question emailed to us from Mikey, and he said, is it okay to put leaves around your outdoor plants? Does that act as an insulator during the wintertime?
You sure can. It would be just as good as straw. Sometimes with leaves, if you can run a lawnmower over them first just to get them broken up a little bit, then they don't tend to mat down as much, but they certainly make a great covering over perennials or around plants. Even if you wanted to use them, and even if you store your leaves, pile them up or something, you can use them as a mulch come springtime too, if you wanted to. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Randy Nelson is our guest here, Clay County Extension Educator. Randy, we so enjoy all the questions that you generate and answer for us. And when we come back, we want to ask some more things of you. I have one about the poinsettias I still have growing from last year. And then also let's touch on your newsletter and questions that were in your most recent newsletter. So we're going to do that, folks, right after we come back. You can call us to join in, 701-293-9000. We'll be back with Randy Nelson after this.
I'm David Chapman, and I'm a candidate for district judge. Our courts were designed to interpret and enforce the law. Our courts were not designed to write the law, which is the job of our elected legislators. In North Dakota, our judiciary carefully respects this special role, and I am a candidate because I wish to use my years of experience to continue that tradition of enforcing the law regardless of personal preference. If elected, I would be honored to serve.
Paid for by David Chapman. Do you run diesel? ATI Fargo has bulletproofing on your 6.0 vehicles. Looking to get fleet work done? ATI Fargo has you covered. They have fuel system disaster prevention kits for your 6.7 Power Strokes. ATI Fargo can get your Cummins head studded and never think of it again. Do you own a business and need quick turnaround on repairs? Call ATI Fargo. Stop in at 2764 44th Avenue North in Fargo. Running diesel? Check out ATI Fargo and give them a call at 218-639-5017.
This is former State Senator Curtis Olofsson. I'm running to return to the Senate in the new District 10 in South Fargo. My number one priority is to get back on the Senate Judiciary Committee, where I previously served for 6 years as Vice Chair, so that I can take action to address the ever-increasing rate of crime in our city and state. I'm also committed to helping working families access quality childcare and supporting our state economy. Vote for experience on November 8th. Vote Olofsson for District 10 State Senate.
Paid for by District 10 Republicans. Curtis Olofsson, Chair.
Hi, this is Representative Ruth Buffalo with a friendly reminder to get out and vote in this November election. If you haven't voted already, make sure to stop by the early voting locations that open on Halloween and go through November 3rd. Throughout my first term, I have fought for new laws that focus on human trafficking prevention and awareness training, a missing persons database, and getting the database fully funded. I will continue to be a strong voice for you in Bismarck, fighting for our working families. Paid for by Friends of Ruth Buffalo, Aaron Busick, Treasurer.
I'm Carter Eisinger. It's time to get serious about putting North Dakota kids first. We must defend parental rights through all decisions in our children's education. We must reduce wasteful administrative bloat in the budget and instead prioritize our teachers and the classroom. Finally, we must protect local control of education through the school board, not top-down standards and policies from Washington, D.C. On November 8th, vote Brad Leeser and Carter Eisinger.
Paid for by District 11 Republicans.
It's time for a change, and it starts with us. Measure 2 to legalize and regulate marijuana for adults in North Dakota is on the ballot this November. I'm Mark Fries, a criminal law attorney from Fargo. I was raised in Bismarck, where I served in the National Guard and as a police officer. I'm voting yes on 2. During my 5 years as a patrol officer with the Bismarck Police Department, I witnessed firsthand the waste of resources arresting and prosecuting people for small amounts of marijuana. Measure 2 allows police to spend more time and resources on more serious and violent crimes. Montana voters passed a similar law in 2020. Now, they're seeing the benefits. Legalization is creating jobs and raising millions in new revenue to invest in drug treatment programs and services for veterans. It's time to take a new, smarter approach in North Dakota. Let's vote yes on 2.
Paid for by New Approach North Dakota. Mark Fries, Treasurer.
It's about tradition, values, and family ties. Bucklet Chevrolet's tradition of giving back to our community remains a priority. And that's why, to honor our veterans and active military personnel, we're offering an oil change special for just $40 in November. This $40 oil change special is our way of showing thanks for their service, dedication, and commitment. We're Bucklet Chevrolet Buick GMC in Valley City. Tradition, values, and family ties.
See dealer for details. Schedule appointment by 11/30/22.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us on this Friday afternoon. 36 degrees right now. Myself, meteorologist Justin Storm, with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and WDAY and Flag Family Ag Director Bridgette Readel, joined by Clay County Extension Educator Randy Nelson. We're talking all about lawn, garden, houseplants, and so much more. And we've just been getting slammed with email questions, and Randy has been hitting home runs on every single one. And if you'd like to join in on the conversation and ask those questions, you can send it to us via email to weatherorag@flagfamily.com. You can also call us and ask that question live on the air with us, 701-293-9000. Randy, we had a caller come in over the break, and they weren't able to stay on the line with us, but Lily wanted to know if she's able to split her peace lily, and if she can, how should she go about it?
She should be able to split her peace lily right now, and what I would do, if you can, put it onto a kitchen table, or if you can do it out in your garage when it's relatively warm outside, go ahead, take it out of the container, and then I would move the topsoil, or the soil right near the base of the plant. Start moving that away so you get a better look at the crown of the plant, and then you should notice an area where you could make a split without causing too much damage to any of the foliage, more or less a natural split in the plant, and then go ahead and just make a cut. And that might be cutting that plant in half, or if it's extremely large, maybe even into 3. And then go ahead and pot those up. I would make sure the containers that are going to be used for those new plants, if they're an inch or 2 inches bigger than the crown, or you could even go a little bit larger if you wanted to, then just go ahead, pot them up using a good houseplant potting mix.
And Randy, I've been thinking about, I'm looking at getting a dog, and I wanted to get, this kind of a two-part question. I was going to get a ficus tree. I've had a ficus tree before with pets, and it didn't seem to be a problem. Are there any houseplants that you should not have if you're going to have a pet in the house?
Great question. I am sure there are some out there that probably are poisonous to pets. Nothing is coming to my mind right now as ones that you should for sure avoid. And I'd certainly, if it's a concern, you could talk to a veterinarian, and they could probably give you some pretty good information on what houseplants you'd want to look at avoiding for a pet.
Okay.
And what we maybe should or shouldn't avoid. There's often the story out there that poinsettias can be detrimental to our pets. And I have a couple of 2-year-old poinsettias in my kitchen, and I sent you guys all the picture of them. So I never put them in the dark, Randy. Is that okay? Do they still need that dark period? What should I do with those guys? Because right now, well, they're slightly out of control. I'm really not sure what to do with them anymore.
They can get kind of aggressive. You can certainly leave them as they are, Bridgette, and you're not going to have any problems. You're not going to have the color come back on those modified leaves or the bracts on there unless you go through and do a dark treatment on those plants, which even if you would do that right now, you probably could get them the color, I would think, by the time Christmas would roll around, or at least close to it. The interesting thing with poinsettias is that in order to get the bracts to color, they need to have 16 hours of darkness. And what's really interesting with poinsettias is that can't be interrupted. So when we're talking darkness, it needs to be complete darkness. So usually what people will do is they'll put a garbage bag over the top of them and then maybe put them into a closet so they have complete darkness for 16 hours. Take them back out, and then you're going to repeat that process daily for at least 8 weeks, and you should start to notice some coloration happening after that time on those bracts. And usually after 8 weeks, you can go ahead and stop the dark treatment, and then you should be able to enjoy that color for several weeks thereafter.
Well, I love the advice, but that sounds like a part-time job I didn't need, so I'm afraid mine may wind up sitting out just waiting for sunshine and daylight right next to my little lemon tree. And my last question here real quick for you, Randy, is when it comes to Miracle-Gro or the plant food stakes, would you recommend that we put those in the pots, especially this time of the year over the winter? Or is it not really a matter about seasonality when it comes to doing those types of foliar feed, or watering feeds, etc.?
Usually the best time for fertilizers would be when they're actively growing. So usually this time of the year when they're not putting out a lot of growth, at least a lot of the house plants with lower light, they're just not putting on much growth. So usually you wouldn't have to fertilize those until we get closer to spring with longer days. But with your poinsettias, if the plants are really putting out a lot of growth, you certainly could be fertilizing those, either with the stake or if you wanted to use a water-soluble fertilizer following directions on the label package. And you could fertilize them, whether that's monthly or maybe twice a month, following label directions would be fine.
I see. Here's another question for you, Randy. Are you familiar with the Leaf Shine product where you spray it on your leaves and it makes them all nice and bold and shiny?
I am familiar with that one, and it does a good job. I mean, it shines them up.
Is there anything that you shouldn't spray that on, or for the most part, is it safe or okay for most, if not all, indoor plants?
My thought would be that it's going to be safe for most of them. I have heard some people say that when you spray that on, you're getting a coating over the leaf surface. So some of the stomates that might be on that upper surface of the leaf, there could potentially be a problem with clogging those, because that's what's opening up and allowing the water and gas exchange to take place. I shouldn't say water, but it's allowing, when they open, it's allowing water vapor and oxygen to move out and carbon dioxide to move in. So there, could potentially be an issue with some clogging. Again, I haven't seen any data on that. I've just heard some people in the nursery industry comment that that can happen. Again, as far as the plants that you could use it on, I think you're going to be safe for most. I would check the label on there just in case they have recommendations of plants to avoid using it on.
Okay. And here's another one that just came into our inbox. Again, if you want to send those questions, that's weatherorag@flagfamily.com. Wants to know about early planting for their upcoming garden next year. When should they start planting their seeds, and if there's any tips or special things that they should do to really get a head start before the growing season officially starts outdoors?
Great. I like that they're starting their planning process in November already. That's wonderful. Probably the biggest thing, if they have varieties that they know they want to plant, generally speaking, the earlier you can order, the better off you're going to be. I've seen just a few seed catalogs come out for home gardeners, and usually as we get later into November, you're going to have a lot more. And I mention that just because sometimes they don't have the websites up, or the catalogs just aren't ready yet for gardening season 2023. So it might be a little bit of time before they could actually order. But again, if they have varieties that they know they want, ordering early is better, because you really don't know when those varieties could run out. And not that that would be an issue, just that if you have a favorite tomato, you might have to substitute it with a different variety if that one is gone. And as far as starting seeds, there is still time. One of the earliest, say, vegetables that a person would start would be onion, and that's usually right around mid-January or so. If you're growing onions from seed, that's roughly about when you would be planting those. So that's usually the first one that is going to be planted. So they have plenty of time for seed starting.
You're not wrong, Randy. I got my first seed catalog in the mail already this week, and usually that is my New Year's Day habit, is I sit down and start ordering my seed for the coming year. Yep. So, Justin, I'll call you. We'll plan ahead.
I just dusted off all of our grow lights. We'll be starting ours up here in probably about March. I think we're going to start planting our seeds.
Excellent. I'm glad you mentioned grow lights, because now with fluorescent lights, they did a really good job. And now with LED lights, using probably about half the amount of electricity, maybe even a little bit less than that, it's really becoming economical to grow your own plants or start your own seedlings indoors to transplant outside. And it doesn't take much either to invest in a 4-foot shop light and a couple of LED lights to go into there to get that up and going.
So many great questions from folks. And Randy, I know we didn't even quite get to all of them yet, but one thing I want to touch on is you do a newsletter. And for those who are listening that would maybe like to receive your monthly newsletter, I just saw stories in there about whether or not to still dormant seed grass, or how to protect trees and shrubs from animals over the winter, like deer and rabbits. How could folks get that newsletter from you so they can have that information at their fingertips as well?
If they wanted to, they can just send me an email at NELS1657@umn.edu, and I will add them to the list. Or if they wanted to, it might be a little bit easier just going online. If they type in University of Minnesota Extension, Clay County, our website should be close to the top. And if they look under contacts, they'll have my email right there. They can just send me a quick email, and I will add them to my monthly newsletter.
It's worth it, folks. I hope you all do it. So, folks, we have had a great conversation as usual with Randy Nelson. You never cease to amaze us as your wealth of information comes right off the top of your head. So, thank you again, Randy. For those who have questions, reach Randy directly, please, or you can direct them through myself and the guys here as meteorologists. We are weather or ag at flagfamily.com. We're going to take a moment to catch up with the American Ag Network and our local markets, and we'll be back right after that.
At Family Dollar, you'll find even more ways to save, like our digital smart coupons, including the Saturday Savings Pass. Explore our app and find additional discounts to stack savings on top of savings. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Angry outbursts, bullying, harassment, and emotional abuse. The allegations against State Senate candidate Dan Bomer are horrifying. Divorce records say the cops were called to Bomer's home multiple times, and he had to be escorted from a doctor's office by police. Worse, Bomer recorded his young son while he showered. He recorded his wife while she slept and broke into their bedroom after she barricaded the door. Bomer even made her drive herself to the doctor while suffering a miscarriage. After their divorce, Bomer paid his child support late, too, weeks at a time, failing to provide for his young children. After all that, Dan Bomer wants to represent us in the state Senate. But after calling his own wife a cunt, stupid, a parasite, we should never call Dan Bomer senator.
This independent expenditure is paid for by the DFL Senate Caucus. It is not coordinated with or approved by any candidate, nor is any candidate responsible for it.
I'm Carter Eisinger. It's time to get serious about putting North Dakota kids first. We must defend parental rights through all decisions in our children's education. We must reduce wasteful administrative bloat in the budget and instead prioritize our teachers and the classroom. Finally, we must protect local control of education through the school board, not top-down standards and policies from Washington, D.C. On November 8th, vote Brad Leeser and Carter Eisinger.
Paid for by District 11 Republicans.
At Family Dollar, you'll find even more ways to save, like our digital smart coupons, including the Saturday Savings Pass. Explore our app and find additional discounts to stack savings on top of savings. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Whether you're streaming, gaming, or connecting, you can count on Sparklight for fast, reliable internet. Because Sparklight knows that faster is just better. Sparklight, a stronger connection.
Grain markets finished mostly higher, led by soybeans on Friday. You're listening to the American Ag Network of Jesse Allen with this closing market update. Well, soybeans, bean meal, bean oil, crude oil, cotton, all big gainers on the day Friday on the back of the rumors that China's economy could be opening up more amid them getting rid of their zero COVID policy. That would be beneficial to commodities that they import a lot of, including soybeans, soy products, cotton, crude oil, etc. Overall, beans were the star on the day. Wheat market found a little bit of support with the U.S. dollar being weaker. Saw some late session selling that weighed heavily on the stock market on the day Friday. We got a jobs report out that figured a better than expected addition of 261,000 jobs as well on Friday. Corn market just kind of chopped around on Friday, really didn't do a whole lot of anything, and that's been the case all week long. Livestock market, lukewarm trade was what we saw there to wrap up the week on Friday's session. Final numbers from Friday. December corn, that was up 1 3/4, 681. March corn up 2, 686 3/4. November soybeans up 24 3/4, 1450 1.5. January up 25 1/4, 1462 1/4. December bean meal up 610 a ton, 420.40. December bean oil up 188.77.17. Chicago wheat December up 7 1/4, 847 3/4. March up 7, 866 3/4. Kansas City wheat December up 12, 953 1/4. Minneapolis spring wheat for December up 11, 954. March up 10 3/4, 965 3/4. December hogs down 40, 82.97. February down 75, 86.42. November feeder cattle down 17, 177.82. Live cattle December down 30, 151.65. February down 50, 154.37. This is the American Ag Network. That's a look at the closing markets from Friday. I'm Jesse Allen reporting.
Hey, welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. I want to thank everybody for joining us today on this Friday. Sunny skies out there right now. Temperature is 37 degrees on our way up into the low 40s. Also want to remind you, next Tuesday, make sure A, to get out and vote, and B, for the best election coverage, make sure to tune it in here to AM 970 or 93.1 FM on WDAY for the latest up-to-date election coverage again next Tuesday. So, and weather next...
On top of that, Dean.
Yeah.
Today, from 3 to 5, is the Cass County Sheriff debate right here on WDAY as well during the Jay Thomas Show.
Yes, that should be a good debate.
That's going to be a good one.
That should be, yes, absolutely. And weather, kind of taking a look into next week, Tuesday does look a little wet and windy. We'll have scattered showers throughout the day, so, but don't let that deter you. Hey, look at it this way. It's not snow, and we're not shoveling it.
Someone say snow?
Right?
Where?
Zip it, Storm.
Right? Hey,
so
you guys want to do a little contest on our Facebook page?
Uh-huh.
To give away a rain gauge?
No, definitely not.
Too bad.
We've given away too many.
Go on to Weather and Ag in Focus on our Facebook page, and we'll make up, Justin, maybe you can make up a little graphic this afternoon and put that on there. But to win one of our rain gauges, let's have everybody pick, when will our first 1 inch or greater snowfall be this season? When will our first...
As reported from Hector?
Well, Hector doesn't measure this. No, it's
reported by the airport.
Yeah, reported for Fargo. That's for Fargo, yeah.
Okay.
So again, that's when will our first 1 inch snowfall be this year? Log on to our Facebook page and just put down what date you think it will be. And if you're right, once we get our first 1 inch or greater snowfall, then you win a rain gauge. So I think that's a fun contest to have. It's always kind of fun to see what people pick and for the ones that are correct. And if there's multiple days that are guessed the same, multiple winners, we'll choose the winner that answered first. That put their
And
there we go.
Okay, does the snowfall have to last longer than just the day? That's my first question. And can I put in my guess?
It just has to be measured as an inch. We could have an inch and then it could melt. It could melt maybe
but
like
it's within one event, but within 24-hour period.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. And I can guess.
What's your guess?
As long as your guess is in 2023, then yeah. Hey, you never know. It might not snow until 23.
I wouldn't put any money on that one.
It's been pretty dry out there.
It has been. What's your guess, Bridgette? What are you thinking?
I am pretty sure we're going to have a white Christmas, so I'm going to say that we don't get that snowfall until December 18th.
Wow.
Hey, good answer, survey says.
That
hasn't happened yet.
Justin, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go out on a limb. Let's go January 18th.
Man. Really?
Let's just say it. Let's just go. I'm going to just be that one person who's way off in left field.
Okay.
Never know.
I'm going to go Thanksgiving week. I get more.
Okay.
I get more than a day. You know.
Maybe narrow that down. Narrow that down.
Wait, yeah. Let's pick. Come on.
Let's do the 26th of November.
Ooh.
It's a Saturday.
Gross.
Okay, got it.
Oh. Not the 26th.
You two duke that out in the studio.
There you go.
Yeah, so make sure you follow us on Facebook so when we get that uploaded, you have that first opportunity to give your guess. And again, the winner will receive that beautiful rain gauge from Productive Alternatives out of Fergus Falls.
Right. And speaking of snow, although we don't have any in the forecast, taking a look at some of our some national weather, numerous winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings from Idaho into parts of Wyoming and down into Utah. Is a pretty big storm system riding in off the Pacific is going to give some much-needed moisture to parts of the Rockies, while on a second storm is already producing severe weather right now in Oklahoma and Texas, where there's some active tornado warnings going on right on the Texas-Oklahoma border right now. Other than that, a lot of wind. Numerous wind advisories in the Great Lakes and also the Northwest. And it's that system that's rolling into the Northwest Actually, it'll be going through southern Canada over the weekend. That is what's going to kick in our winds. And as Justin was saying earlier, don't be surprised to have some probably either wind advisories or high wind watch over our area on Sunday, as we're expecting some really, really, really strong winds out of the west and northwest. So it's going to be tomorrow, probably the pick day of the weekend. Sunday.
Yeah, wear your windbreaker, Bridgette.
I might
Let us
need
know how much
extra
wind
layers.
it breaks.
Zero wind, Justin.
Zero wind.
Nice. Hey, for those who are looking for things to do this weekend, if you're not going hunting, it is also South Dakota. It is the state meeting for their Stock Growers Convention. It is taking place out in Spearfish, lovely area if you'd like to get out there. And you can join in on all of their discussions when it comes to grazing. Their state vet is stopping by, as well as their governor. So you'll have lots of interesting political discussions while you're out in Spearfish. Closer to home, just a shout out to the Bartholomew Cattle Company down by Cheyenne, or Sheldon, North Dakota, in the Cheyenne grasslands is what I'm trying to spit out. The Bartholomews have been in the area for about 127 years. Keith and his wife Sandy, their son Carl, and his fiancee Rebecca operate this ranch. They are permitted for about 500 head with a hoop barn. They have done all the right things to make sure that they are environmentally friendly. They do a great job of conservation. They also work with wildlife. And Keith also mentors other cattle producers who are interested in getting started in the management practices that he follows. So just a little shout out to those folks down here close by in our neighborhood at Sheldon, North Dakota. Again, that's the Bartholomew Cattle Company, Environmental Stewardship Award winner from North Dakota Stockmen's Association.
And Spearfish is a beautiful, that is so beautiful up in the Black Hills there. You are absolutely correct,
Yes.
Bridgette. It's gorgeous out there.
It is. Yep. So check out that convention if you're in the neighborhood today.
Yep. And we want to thank everyone for listening today. That's going to about wrap it up for us here on Weather and Ag in Focus. Make sure, again, head out to our Facebook page, Weather and Ag in Focus. We'll be posting that contest up here hopefully today on your opportunity or your chance to win one of our rain gauges from Productive Alternatives. All you got to do is guess, when are we going to get the first 1 inch of snowfall as reported by Fargo? Even if you get an inch over in Detroit Lakes, well, it snowed an inch here. Nope, it's got to be measured officially at Fargo. So we hope you stay tuned with us on Monday. We'll be back 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next. And remember that Cass County Sheriff's Debate starts at 3 o'clock on the Jay Thomas Show, mediated by our news director, Kyle Cornell.
970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM. Fargo More.